This is Windrose.
Call all hands to man the capstan. See the cable run down clear. Heave away and with the will, boys, for Tortuga we will steer. And we'll sing in joyful chorus in the watches of the night. And we'll sight shores of Tortuga when the grey dawn brings the light. Rolling home, rolling home, rolling home across the sea. Rolling home to dear Tortuga, rolling home, dear land to thee.
Guys, this game is so much fun. It's also really frustrating. It's a solid mix between something like Assassin's Creed Black Flag and a survival game. I haven't played Valheim, but what I know of it, kind of like that. It also kind of reminds me of Grounded in the same kind of survival-ish things. Anyway, it's a pretty fun game. I'm going to kind of start from the beginning of my playthrough, just talk about what happened. And this is all going to be voiceovered because my house was really noisy and I could not record while I was playing. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. If you could give it a thumbs up, that would be huge. Leaving a comment, even more huge. That YouTube algorithm. Anyways, let's get right into the video. I'm starting off with this Skyrim character creator, mostly so you can just see what my guy looks like because I'm gonna wear clothes the rest of the video. But I think it was really cool that they had Kraken tattoos, so I put those obviously everywhere I could. Can we just take a second to listen to this background music? I once had the game open with an earbud in my ear while I was taking care of my kid. It was so relaxing, just this harp, little bit of guitar. Just thought I'd point it out. It made it so hard not to fall asleep in the middle of the night. Now, I'll cut over to the start of the game. The year of 17 something something. The seas tremble with the roar of cannons and turn red from blood. Edward Teach, who is Blackbeard, proclaims himself to be the king of pirates in the West Indies. Rumors are spreading that he's struck a bargain with the devil himself and commands the dead. After crushing the British fleet, Teach turns his forces towards Tortuga, the last bastion of freedom and independence in the Caribbean. Not looking for trouble and with a couple other poor souls in tow, you try to slip your fast ship through the blockade ring. But just a few days later, you wake up in your cabin and realize you're under attack. You hear a broadside, and everything goes dark. Eeher! Am I right? It was really fun. There was an interesting kind of setup with this beginning of the game. I quite enjoyed it. It feels so different from the rest of the game, but I'm glad there was somewhat of a combat tutorial. That's one of the things with this game. I really struggled with the combat. I put a bunch of death scenes in there for a reason, but yeah, I really struggled. It wasn't until I played for a couple hours that I realized, oh, you can parry birds and boars and things like that too, not just people, and that made it a lot easier. So as you can see, we wake up in our ship, we go and talk to our doctor. He gives us a pot of coffee. And that's an interesting note about this game, as I've noticed playing it, is that like 99% of the game isn't voice acted. And I get that the game's in early access, but I'm a fan of either going all in or all out with voice acting. So there was times like I'd go to talk to the doctor and he'd be like, "I'm at your service, Captain." But then he wouldn't talk for the rest of his dialogue. I don't know, I just found that a little jarring. I don't like when games do that personally. You go out, the game just does a simple combat tutorial. Nothing too fancy. I think next time I play, I'm definitely gonna remap the lock-on button, because holy crud. Man, do I hate pushing T to lock on. And then the default setting is if you kill someone and there's more than one enemy, you just stop locking onto them in general. Kind of interesting. So here's a rundown about what kind of happens next in the story. We go up above deck, and then we find some scallywags who have an artifact. We tell them to go kick rocks, and then we force them to leave this earth violently. As we're admiring the treasure that we justly found, we are shot and killed, and then the artifact becomes my homie. And then we wake up on the beach. Now that we're on the beach is where the fun begins, or how our shore adventure begins. The game just kind of starts us off with a crappy sword and pistol. And I can also see that I'm hungry. And I can see that we've got some things to look at, like building a bonfire. Once we have the resources for that, we're going to go ahead and put that right here. And I'm going to go get the materials and put a workbench right here. And since we're so hungry, we probably want to build a cooking station as well. And we'll just slap that down. Now that we have our workbench, I'm going to go ahead and make an axe for myself. So that way it's easier to get the rest of the wood we need. I don't have to sit and pick it up off the side of the beach. And now we're going to put a tent right here. Then the game tells us that we need to go get a boar hide. So we go down a little trip. And of course we don't run into a boar, we run into a dodo first. Don't worry, it's easy to beat. For killing the dodo, we were rewarded with some egg and some drumsticks, so thankfully we have some food now. Something interesting about this game is your health bar is tied to the kind of food you eat, the quality of the food you eat. So you can increase your health bar by leveling up your character, but it's very small. You eat one plate of food and it doubles your health bar. And you can see I basically have two hearts, like if we're thinking like Zelda, and these pigs. It's like they hit you once, you're like, oh, I'm half health. Now I died because I hadn't managed my inventory, my stamina, so I held right click and my guy wouldn't block. Something I thought at the time while playing the game was that it was kind of like Dark Souls with your loot. I thought maybe you lose some of your stuff, you can go get it, or you have one chance to go get your stuff. Like if you die again before picking up your items, they're gone forever. Nope, that's not the case. You can die 30 times and go pick up every single thing. So you can see I'm playing very cautiously. I'm like, block, run away, block. But anyway, once we take care of these pigs, I go get all of my stuff back. Now that I have my stuff back, we're heading back to camp. And you can see it's just a little tent, bonfire, a little cooking spit, little workbench. So the game's prompting me to build a armor workbench specifically for armor. And then I noticed roof required. I'm like, what is this? And so I'm like, oh, I need to build a house. So I'm gonna have a timeline of me kind of building the house, playing around with the mechanics. I've cut out a lot of stuff, like learning the controls and the menus. It's pretty intuitive building in this game, but it definitely took me a minute. It took me longer than I thought it would have. So I'm just gonna let this montage play out. You can skip ahead like a minute and a half if you want to not see it. I'll see you in a minute. Something that really bothers me in this game is I put down 4 big foundations and they somehow made the door like too wide, which isn't a problem, but holy crud, does it bother my OCD that the door's off center. Oh, I don't know if it bothers anyone else. Just one of those little things. You're like, oh, I hope this is not the same when this game's fully released. All right, now that we're done building, I decided to try and build some armor and saw that it was like, oh, you need rawhide, which I knew we could get from pigs, so I went out. What I didn't expect is to go out at night and to find monster crabs and zombies. Super interesting though. I love it when games do this, like it's not just stagnant enemies. Though I don't think I found more than monster crabs and undead zombies. And since this game's going for like the RPG leveling health bar systems, yeah, that's it. They're just to increase their health and damage, you know what I mean? Once we dispatched of the crabs, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go take a sleep. So took a nap, and then the next day we went out. And I was like, I should make some food for myself with the crabs. So they were good for something. I hope you guys like the. Oh, and we made ourselves a pickaxe as well. I hope you like the zoom-ins. It's something new that I'm trying in editing to kind of make it. This game has a lot of tiny text, little info boxes all over the place. So I just wanted to make it a little more apparent. This is me going out and trying to get more rawhide. What the game doesn't tell you is that you need like 100 of this. You're gonna be farming pigs, man. You're gonna be farming pigs. And also, I suck at the combat of this game. It's so like close to things that I've experienced before, like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. It's just a little janky, and I just keep falling short because you're like 2-hit all the time. When I came back, I just straight up executed that pig. As we were going out, I found this cave, which turned out to be a mine. Super cool, and I'm grateful it's not a limited resource, but I was able to find copper, and I'm guessing there's going to be other ores in the game later, but in my 3 hours, the only thing I found was copper in these mines. But if you come back to the cave at a later time, it has all these rocks regenerated that you can see me hitting. So, kind of cool. This game is a little grindy. It's very much like the other survival games where it's slower paced, and it's not really my favorite thing. I'm someone that has a job full time. Sometimes a job makes me work after hours. I've got a wife and I've got a kid. I've got my family that we live kind of close to. So, you know, it really kind of bothers me when games are like, we want you to dedicate 500 hours to upgrade your gear, and I'm like, how about 1 hour, and then you upgrade my gear, and then in a couple hours we upgrade it again, and yeah, I don't know, just a little slow for me. Now as we exit the cave, we're gonna cross more dodos. I've probably killed like 30 of these things by now. They're kind of like the bats of the Pokemon games. They're not super difficult, it's just there's a lot of them, and you're like, I don't know why I'm choosing to fight you. At least you get food from the dodos. This is me. I found this cool ruin next. It was infested with pigs, so it was kind of a twofer. Like, we got everything we needed, except I started getting swarmed, and I mean, I can take one pig at a time, kinda. You saw me suck multiple times, but when there's like 4 or 5 pigs, I just sat and ran away and shot them with my pistol until I couldn't. And then when I ran out of shot, I tried to attack and got absolutely destroyed by that pig. Now I'm grateful that I got bodied because the pig sent me back to my camp, where we found a new visitor. The guy from the boat in the beginning of the game, Dr. Galen. I'll give you a little summary of what he says. He's like, hey, I got captured by pirates. I escaped. I'm gonna come vibe with you. Let's rebuild our crew. You need to make a new boat. And get some of our crewmates rescued from Blackbeard's men. Something interesting as I made it back to the ruin was you're able to find these chests, and they have some goodies in them, like healing potions, which is super helpful since I suck at combat. And as you can see, once I finally finished clearing out all the pigs after those couple attempts, I was able to freely loot the rest of this ruin. Now, what I was talking about earlier with the game being grindy, one thing that I really enjoy about this game is the fact that your tools and weapons and armor doesn't have durability. That's one of my least favorite things in survival games, especially ones that have slow progression like Grounded. I've played through most of Grounded with my brother, man, do I just hate putting in a ton of effort to get some cool armor and then knowing, well, you can use it for a shorter amount of time, and then you're gonna have to go regrind that effort. Man, that drives me nuts in games like this. So kudos for that. I didn't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I actually do really enjoy this game, and I'm looking forward to the next time I can play it. Now is the season of upgrades. Got myself some new armor. Didn't really notice a difference in fighting, but it says it gives me more defense. We built a furnace and a kiln, I think it was called, in order to make charcoal, and then using the furnace to smelt bars, use all the coal we got. I mean copper that we got. With the copper we got, we could then make the weapon tool bench and utilize it. Of course, always need more hide. While I was out hunting hide, I found this cool wreck with a upgraded pistol and a lamp. I also came across these skeletons, which are for a quest later I found. Don't know why I'm just chopping away at that wood. But you actually need the shovel to dig up some buried treasure here. Of course, die. And I find this jungle ruin infested by dodos. Something that I really liked was that you'd find these eggs, like the dodo eggs, in the ruins. Like they were trying to make this thing their home. And I came in and slaughtered them like animals. Also found a basement in this ruin, which is cool. It had some drowned zombies. I think are the easiest enemy, other than the dodos, honestly, for some reason. But the loot here wasn't too bad. I found a few interesting things. I found a ring. The rings in this game, they're like 5% increased piercing damage or something like that. Could be just that they're green rings, you know, that they'll get better over time. I did find that fast travel bell, which allows me to build this pier, which will come in handy later because you're allowed to just fast travel in your boat. At this camp, I found these things, and while trying to fight the wildlife, of course, died again. It's kind of a reoccurring theme, and if you're getting bored of seeing this, don't worry, I won't be dying nearly as much. But going back to that camp with the shovel now, you're able to dig around the base of the tree, which I thought was really cool. And there was like a whole quest to kind of point you to where that's supposed to happen, which is pretty cool game design in my opinion. It took me a few tries to get it. Now in post, obviously I'm like, oh, there's a little sparkly bit, but it took me until right now to realize that there was treasure there. Going back to where the skeletons were, you're able to dig in the middle of them, and this was also a part of a side quest. I just really appreciate that the pirate game has buried treasure. You know, like, I'm a simple man. I like pretty dark-haired women and breakfast foods and pirate games. Just kidding. That's just a Ron Swanson quote. But anyway, when you open the chest, it says, "Oh, you've awakened the skeletons. Those are supposed to be the zombies of the skeletons." I think if I could critique it a little bit, since they could become undead zombies, why not just have the skeletons get up and attack me? That'd been cool. Or have the skeletons disappear when the zombies appear because, you know, they're reanimated or something like that. This is the moment where I get on my boat and I'm like, what is that white beam out in the distance? Because it's not where I need to go for my quest to build a bigger boat and to get a crew. It's a barrel, 20 wood in it, and some nails. So I immediately came back. I was like, alright, well that was kind of whatever. I went to sleep the next day. We go out, and man, this game is so pretty. I turned off the UI just to be like, oh, that water, it looks good. Enjoy the mini montage of me sailing for the first time. Did that feel long? Because that's what that just waiting in the boat felt like. On this new island, I found a cave and I found this ruin with these really interesting boars that do a charge attack. Pretty funny, see me fly around. And I also found our ship. She is mighty and majestic, all destroyed like. Guarding her were an undead drowned guy and a couple of monster crabs. And they kind of messed me up because I was so focused on getting a cool shot. Yeah, instant, full health, almost bleh. And then this is a timeline to show you how awful getting back there was. If there's one thing I would change about the game, as part of the quest to go get a bigger boat and to go get a bigger crew, is have you set a respawn point. Because you can do that. You can just build a tent and a bonfire and click on it, get your respawn there. That way it's not so far. But anyway, to fix the ship up, we need 100 wood, 20 nails, 20 fabric, and 10 ropes. So I got to work. You can break up the shipwrecks for nails and wood, and you can also craft rope and fabric with the plant fibers. You can see me setting up a little camp here on this island. I tried to keep it real cut short because I wanted to make the video digestible. I haven't introduced any of the farming into this game, like from this game in the footage, because I find it incredibly boring to look at. But this is what it looks like. You just left clicking on trees until your stamina runs out, and then left clicking on trees until your stamina runs out, left clicking on trees until your stamina runs out. Occasionally fighting something, and then left clicking on trees. So, but eventually we got all the materials and got the ship in ship shape. But of course, like any good grindy game, it's not that easy. We have to do the other quest. So that's what we're gonna work on. So as we neared up the first location, turns out all of our men have been captured by Blackbeard's pirates, and they hit really hard. I died a lot of times trying to complete the combat for like 5 different camps for these men that we needed to rescue. I have sped up the clips. I haven't shown a lot of combat, just kind of me dying or killing an enemy, but I thought I would play it in slow motion or fast motion, so that way you can see kind of what the combat's like. You have to play so carefully. I didn't expect that out of this game. When we finally do talk to the guy, oh, hello there.
Cage butts back.
He says, "Oh, don't walk away. Get me out of here. I came here for you, bruh. Galen sent me." But we go back and forth. Eventually, we let him go. Something really I don't like about this game is how the voice lines don't match up with what they say. And that this is like the first game I've ever had a prisoner, and you release them from prison, and the cage is still closed, and they are still in it. But we did find a cool pirate hat. So, W's in the chat. We got ourselves a better hat. You have to sail in between each of the different sites. So that's where that cut is from. This time, I learned my lesson and set up a camp before going and engaging with the enemy. Because holy crud, it's awful. Dying over and over. And yep, you guessed it. We died another time. And another time. These are all the same enemies. They are so hard to manage in a group, a bunch of humans, because they block and stuff, and so you'll get an opening, you'll swing, the first guy that you hit will block, the second guy will run up and hit you while you don't have stamina. It's annoying. When we killed their captain, we got this deckhand insignia, which is pretty cool. And once we cleared out the cap, I was able to go and free the guys. We also found the weapon I liked using the rest of my time playing, which was a two-handed longsword.
Not one of them.
So we let that guy out, we let his friend out, and it's the same thing. I think we had to go to like 7 different camps, so I'm not going to bore you with everyone. One time, when I was going to one of the camps, I found this cool ruin, and it had a parkour puzzle, something I didn't expect in this game. And there was a drowned who didn't one combo me, but I wasted all my stamina hitting him, and he was just able to kill me. When I came back, I killed him, played a little more safe, and we found some interesting ingots, never heard of before, and a ring. I believe that ring does like 3% more damage with slashing weapons or something like that. Anyway, that's kind of how they work. When I finally rescued the last guy, it gave me the little quest update, rescuing the crew, and we sailed back. I won't talk the whole time, but just look at how bad these big ships are at shooting me in my little dinghy. You like how that ship just appeared in the ocean after you fixed it? Yeah, me too. So now, we're officially a pirate. And this game handles a lot like Black Flag. You can tell they took their inspiration from that, which is interesting. Your ship doesn't start with cannons though. You have to go make those. And I was about to drive all the way home, but turns out you can just fast travel to that bell. So I was like, alright, save me time. When I'm talking to Dr. Galen, he kind of confesses that he has been a little bit of a spy. And he still wants to be on my team, especially now. But that he wasn't always honest, which is cool that he came and told me himself. So I didn't have to kill him, I guess. But he basically tells us, in essence, that we can't leave because we need to fight this boss, and it's the guy that killed me in the introduction to the game. We have to kill him so we can unlock the secret mask powers, or something like that. If you want to read the dialogue, I've left it all on screen. You can pause everything and look at it, but it's super interesting. We weren't actually able to make it to that boss fight in this episode, so something to look forward to in the next one. And if that's something you want to see, let me know down below. Here's a little base tour. I built another shack. This one is for alchemy and some more storage. We've got the furnaces, the workbenches, the workbenches that need to be indoors, some storage in my bed, and a tent just in case, I don't know, from when I first set it up. And you can see the ship over in the distance, and it looks pretty good. This game looks pretty amazing. I'm actually really impressed with the graphical quality of this game and how it wasn't super hard on my PC. One of the things we have to do now is, in order to upgrade your ship, you have to build this workbench. Of course, it had to have a roof, but that's where you're actually able to build armor and cannons and get them on your ship. So that was super interesting. And you have to build this workbench in order to apply it to the ship. I tried for a while to get it actually on the ship. Of course, we name our boat the Kraken, and we go with the tentacle sails and the good old Jolly Roger. So now our ship's a little bit more customized, and then you're able to apply those upgrades, which is just the most interesting way I've ever seen a game apply its upgrade system. Anyway, that's all I have time for, you guys. I've been moving and getting ready to move this week, so this video is a little weird or out of touch. That's why. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.